Hey guys, this is John. It is Monday, June 3rd. For today's video, I wanted to film one of my favorite places in New Jersey, close to my home, during the summertime, a place called Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook is a peninsula, which means it's surrounded by water on three sides. On one side of the peninsula is the beach. On the other side is a harbor leading into New York. You can see Earl Weapons Station, which is a naval base for the US military. It is home to the country's oldest working lighthouse, and it just has a ton of history. For example, this place behind me you see called Battery Potter. It has gun shells there. This place was used by the military in the late 1800s to test gun technology. It was used to protect the New York harbor from ships, and the lighthouse helped warn ships of sandbars and dangers as it goes through the the waterway. But I come here every morning that it's nice. I'll do my morning run and a lot of my morning routine here because it's so quiet. There's a ton of history. I love driving and walking around, and today I just figured let me show you around and see if you like it as much as I do. And if you're not from the area, hopefully you'll find this video interesting. But yeah, this particular place I'm at is called Battery Potter. As I said, it's a permanent concrete structure. On the other side of those walls is the beach, give or takes. How far it is, I don't know. But this place was used to test a type of hydraulic gun system. If you can imagine in the late 1800s when ships came, they would fire their cannons. The types of gun technology this was they're testing a hydraulic system to come up above a battery, fire, and then come back down. So you find a lot of old structures here, and as I said, at 5:30 in the morning, there's virtually nobody here. It's a great place to clear your head and just think about the day and the weeks ahead. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks. Okay, here's another huge structure. Looks like Chernobyl. Yeah, one big concrete structure, as you can see, and every one of these pockets or open spaces in the middle was home to a huge gun, if you can imagine. You can see it's kind of eerie, right? It's like a ghost town here. But these are another installation that was used to protect the waterways or test guns. Those middle areas is where there was huge cannons that would raise up, fire, and then lower back down, and then you could see it inside where they probably loaded it. But it's just so cool that there's structures here but kind of falling apart. A lot of open land here. So we're kind of in we're in Fort Hancock, as it's called. Fort Hancock was built to allow all the people needed to man these guns and to maintain these guns and these defense areas. So they built a fort, which I'll show you. So it's kind of like a ghost town, if you want to call it that, but there are some people who still live here. So it's really neat, really neat. See what I mean? Look at this, we got deer everywhere. They're not afraid of anyone because there's probably so many humans walking around, and they're just walking around enjoying the morning. Look at that, it's so cool. And this is the best part about coming here so early. And you can see there's a lot of structures, as I said, that are still around, right? People don't live in most of these, but there are some people as we go closer to the harbor that do live in here. So as you can imagine, in the 1900s, there were soldiers, anyone who was working on the site here, living in these housing. And the closer to the water you get, it's called Officers Row, because the cool breeze of the water is where your high-ranking officials stay, because it's cooler air, and then infantrymen and others, they come here and live further away. This particular building, which is so old, is called Fort Hancock's Officers Club. Look, here's a tourist's kind of plaque here that gives you some information. So this says that this was here until 1936 and became what's called Officers Club, which I guess is where people hung out if you were of that stature. Pretty cool. As I drive around this, you'll see it's like falling apart, but the fact that they kept it here is really neat. It'd be awesome if they renovated this area and actually made it into a place that had shops and people can maybe hang out here for the summer. It was a little bit nicer, of course. But as I go around this Officers Club building, I mean, look at that. It's like a haunted house, right? It's so cool. So cool. And it's the best part about coming here this hour, right? I mean, I could literally just leave everything aside, work, whatever, think about whatever it is I need to think about and do it in a real peaceful and calm way. There's really nobody here, and it's such a huge area just to walk around and to drive around. There's also a school here called MAST, which is studying marine science and technology, where kids who are graduating from middle school can actually choose to come here during their high school if they want to get into marine biology and stuff like that. So I'll show you that when we pass it. Here, as I make a right, I'm going back towards the area where there's a harbor going into New York, and just again, you can see it's just such a cool space, all these old homes and structures that were here. And there are actually people that work here. There are people, because as I said, there's a beach where people come, quite popular beach location where people come, and there are rangers that oversee it. I mean, look, there's actually a fire station here, so there are actually people who work here on behalf of the township or the state. This did lose a lot of funding. We had a really bad Hurricane Sandy, and some of the structures closer to the beach were destroyed, and they chose not to rebuild it. For example, there's a very big restaurant on the beach that got destroyed, and they didn't get funding to fix it. You see there's some cars over there, so there's actually some people who live there. Just imagine, like in the late 1800s, people walking around and actually working here. It's really neat, I think, at least. Yeah, as we come around here, this is really cool. What you're looking at is the oldest working lighthouse in the United States. This thing was built in 1760 something, and as I understand, the British actually was able to easily occupy this area, and they tried to destroy this thing, and it was said that they couldn't even destroy it because of how thick it is. You see it, I don't know if it's still on, but it does actually work. So as I kind of pan around here, you see here's the house that somebody lived in. Whoever maintained the lighthouse and worked the lighthouse, there was I think a woman who actually lived here into the early 1900s and owned property in the area. The thing's got a base of like 25 feet, and it's about almost 90 feet tall. You can see that thing, I heard, for like 20 miles. It's really cool. Over there's mortar batteries, so that's where again they had the gun batteries, which is facing that's facing the ocean. Check this out. So cool, especially in the morning with the sun beaming on it. Sandy Hook Light, it's called. Some old housing. Yeah, you can go in there and watch a video about the site if you really wanted to. Here's another view on it, and upward. See if there's a ghost peeking out the window. Look at all this concrete, man. It's crazy. So now we're coming on that school I told you. It's called Marine Academy of Science and Technology, MAST for short. So there is actually a school here that is a little bit more built up, and people come here for their education. So there are some nicer buildings. Look at that roof collapse. See. So as I said, kids that are graduating high school can choose to come here if they're interested to pursue this type of career. They want to join the Coast Guard or something like that. So here, as I mentioned, this is an area where people come and frequently go to the beach. So here's actually an area outside one of the beach entrances where they have food trucks. They've got restrooms, vending machines. But on the right, check this thing out, is still one of the battery gunisons where there are still guns still mounted in the turrets. So I want to show you that. There's 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, it's a gun platform, and you can walk up it. Here it is. So you still got electrical work here. Everything's kind of sealed shut, but they allow you to come up the steps and then check out this view. It's phenomenal. This is a great place. Bam! Look at that. Solid steel gun. You can imagine how loud this thing is when it fires and the kind of shells that they had. But yeah. Got a full view over there. I can't zoom, but I'm looking at the skyline to New York City, and there's the beach. Here are those here's the guns, right? There's one here, there's one over there, and then over out in the distance they did actually test some newer missile technology and so on. So cool. And then there's just a lot of this. Driving through roads that are cutting right through with nature on both sides. You hear the birds chirping, as I showed you. You see deer walking around. And again, it's just such a quiet, serene place, and an awesome place just to come clear your head, think about things you want to do, and not have any real distractions. And it's awesome that something like this is only 15 minutes drive from my home. This is a really cool area. This is a missile site. So during the times when those mortar guns became obsolete, what became more popular is missiles that were guided by radar. And there's actually, I don't know how well you could see it, I can't really get in here, but there are silos where missiles were raised from and fired from, and then they were guided by radar. This actually was a popular place during the Cold War. They put missiles here and had a lot of people stationed here as a defense mechanism for the New York, Philadelphia area. So now it's all overgrown with the vegetation and such, but pretty cool. I don't know again how well you could see things, but the name of this area was the Nike missile site. You may have seen me had I filmed some missiles as we were here earlier, and that's the kind of missiles that were fired here and guided by radar. So, and normally as I try to when I wrap down or end my trip, I normally love coming here, which is areas that you could walk out, walk along the water line, and hear the sun. No, I'm sorry. Hear the waves crashing, and it's really cool. You'll also find some random stuff, whatever that is, some kind of fish. Find some random stuff on the water. Here's a poor horseshoe crab that didn't make it back. And you see there's a kind of outlet where you could walk up and go down the water line a little bit. But as I said, it's like such a nice, peaceful area. And look, at the end of the day, what I was trying to do is show you a really nice area where I live, but also what I'm trying to do is show you that there's certain habits we all need to do if we want to get ourselves in a better spot in life. And a lot of that starts with your mind, a lot of that starts with the way you're thinking. And in order to do that, you really have to put yourself in an environment conducive to that. In the wintertime, I literally would be in my house. I would, find my office, my home office. I'd close my door, I'd put on some relaxing music, and I would think, I would read, I would write down my objectives, but nothing beats something like this, where you're actually out in the water, in nature, and it's such a great environment to clear your head and to think about whatever it is you want. So I hope that the video was insightful. I hope that you found the video interesting. As I said, this is one of my favorite things to do in the warmer months here in New Jersey. And till next time, have a great day, guys. So as I drive and leave, there's a couple things I just wanted to show you. So here's the beach on this side, and you can see that's where there's a lot of different stations. People can come in and park. So a lot of people during the summer months will come here and pay to park, and then you can hang out here for as long as you want. Believe it or not, there is actually a nude beach as well. This is not the kind of nude that you'd be interested in. Like, going to Brazil nude beach is probably a bit more preferable than the Sandy Hook nude beach. You're talking about much different types of people who are going out in their birth suit. So I wouldn't recommend it. On the right here again is the channel that ultimately leads to Earl Weapon Station and the New York Harbor. But you can't see it due to the high trees. Maybe just in a few moments I'll get a nice shot of that. A lot of apartments along the water. See a ton of boats. There you go. Almost. You'll see the bridge. See? Really pretty. A lot of people go windsurfing here, where you have that huge kite. Actually, not windsurfing. I forget what it's called, but there's huge kites in the air, and people are getting pulled by the wind on surfboards along the water. A lot of people doing that. They fish and so on. So that's about it, guys. That's Sandy Hook for you. Again, I'm here at least 3 or 4 days a week, assuming the weather's nice, and this is a great place for me to do my morning routine. Have a great one, guys.